morning, everybody. It's Michael Schmidt here live from the reInvent show floor. Super exciting day at Industries Live. I've thoroughly enjoyed the morning so far. Karen and Chris kicked us off with a fantastic group of segments with partners this morning. I learned a lot. I don't know about you. I hope you found it insightful. I especially enjoyed the trivia game. For those of you who watched that just a few minutes ago, we had a lot of laughs and a lot of fun, and it was expertly hosted by my good friend Stuart. More of that stuff later on in the day. We have a bunch more partner interviews coming up, which I'm super excited about. This, again, is puts the icing on the cake of what's been a fantastic week here at reInvent. I think we've all learned a lot from our partners. We've had a bunch of interesting industry insights from across our industry, partners, customers, and a bunch of interesting announcements. And, as you might have heard me say in the kickoff this morning, one of the things I've enjoyed this week is just having conversations with customers and partners about what's happening in their business, what they're seeing in the world. And, we just take a lot from this event away in terms of learnings that help us serve our customers and our partners better. So that, for me, has been a huge win in terms of, what we get out of reInvent. Certainly got some sore feet. Certainly feeling pretty dry and dusted. I'm looking forward to sleeping in my own bed. But look, reInvent is like Christmas for all of us. We have such a great time every year, and it's just a great way to finish what has been an incredible year. So right now we have looking forward to hearing from Rich from Miro. I'm here with Stuart, and we're going to have a great conversation, which I've really been looking forward to, Rich. So Stuart's going to kick us off with our first question, and we'll take it from there.
Hey everybody, it's Stuart Lepkowsky from the Industries and Solutions team, focused on telecom, media, entertainment, and games and sports. We've had a great morning. We're here today with Rich Moore, and Rich is from Miro. Rich, could you do a little intro of yourself and tell us a little bit about Miro?
Sure. So hi folks, my name is Rich Moore. I'm a solution engineering leader at Miro. I also lead a prototyping team. So we've actually been doing a lot of work prototyping new capabilities around AWS and helping practitioners basically go faster with their migrations to the cloud. So excited to be here talking today with you.
Excellent, excellent, Rich. Rich, let's dive a little bit into game design and production. Let's take a look at generative AI and tell us really what's the advent and what's going on in the industry and what's the game changer look like?
So for us, we've obviously, with generative AI, have been on a journey to bring that into our product. And we're seeing just basically teams are being able to use that generative AI capabilities and actually go faster with the workloads that they're trying to do. We've actually been playing with embedding Bedrock, Amazon Bedrock, into our platform. We've recently actually announced an Amazon Q integration that we've been playing with. But generally, we're seeing teams actually using this to help them get past the cold start when you're going into, for example, game design. So we've actually created an open source integration with the Amazon team, an AWS team.
It's pretty incredible, yeah.
Which is available on AWS's website, on the GitHub repo, which allows you to actually basically do generative AI into the canvas of Miro and start bringing in images, game characters, etc.
That's great. Just to double down on that, I'm fascinated to hear, I'm sure you have a lot of your customers saying, how am I going to get started with generative AI? What does that mean for my business? How, tell me about what that journey's looked like for you with your conversations with your customers and how you've kind of eased them into thinking about that as part of their short, medium, and long-term plans.
I think obviously generative AI is the big word right now. Everybody is talking and everybody is wanting that, and we're all seeing the advantages of it.
Yeah.
Every customer we're interacting with is wanting to bring their own models and have their own governance around the data they're bringing into all their platforms. And the great thing is with Miro and AWS, we're able to actually allow customers to have full control and interact with Bedrock, for example, and SageMaker and all these services to basically help them go faster.
That's pretty incredible. Can we talk a little bit about, as you're doing this and you're working with developers, what kind of headwinds are you facing as we change from a more traditional model over to the cloud model with your team?
I think what we're seeing is if we're looking specifically at gaming. There's a lot that goes into actually game development. It's not just about writing code. It's a case of there's the project management that goes behind building a game. There's the media assets, the marketing teams that are involved with actually getting this game to market. So it's a case that Miro is actually a great platform that allows you to give an overall view to running a whole new game development, all the way through from writing the code, building the assets, to working with the teams, getting marketing material out there and launching the game. So with our platform, you're able to actually manage the sprints that the teams are running. You can bring in all the assets and have just governance over the whole way that the teams are working.
Interesting, very interesting. So in that game development cycle that you described, where do you think the most challenges that developers will face, and where do you think Miro really brings that competitive edge that changes the game, as you walk through the journey of the cycle of development?
I think it's reducing the context switching. So obviously we want developers typically to be in their IDEs, but it's a case that you're having to jump between all these different tools, keep things up to date in Jira, have an understanding of documentation. And the great thing about Miro is that it gives you that ability to have a connective tissue across all of your enterprise tools, and you are able to just go faster with your teams by bringing everything into one space.
Fantastic. I'm interested, this week you've obviously engaged with a lot of customers yourself, and you've had a lot of conversations, and what I always take away from this event is just getting that raw feedback. It really helps shape thinking about the future and thinking about, particularly the next 12, 24 months. Tell me, what have you been hearing from your customers this week? What have they been telling you, and what's kind of stood out in terms of feedback that you've had from them?
I think generative AI has obviously been a massive theme. We've seen customers obviously really excited over what we've got within our product when it comes to the use of AI. We're actually here at Miro launched some new capability around supporting migrations and modernization projects. And so we're getting a lot of great conversations from customers over how we're coming together to support basically migrating to AWS quicker.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible, the migration journey. Can you just dive a little deeper into that and give us a little bit of color? And what would our audience outside be interested in, what you saw at the show and how you're integrating that, and what does that look like?
Sure. So I mean, what we're doing sort of migration-wise is that we are helping teams reduce the time it actually takes to do a migration. When it comes to moving to AWS or moving from one of those other cloud providers, it's a case that there's a lot that goes into this. You need to train your teams. You need to have alignment over how the teams are working and functioning. So we've actually built out templates and very specific AWS capabilities to help teams basically visualize that journey and go faster. And when it comes to, for example, running workshops and doing all these things, you can do all these things on Miro, which makes it hugely beneficial. And basically it's about making teams go faster and the velocity of that. What we're also, here, everything we're seeing with Bedrock and what we're seeing with Amazon Q, that's obviously going to help bring support to what we're doing as well.
Fantastic. How about, excuse me, anything you've seen at the show or announcements? I mean, we're all trying to keep up with all the keynotes that are all going on as we're also having all these meetings, so we're all still going to be catching up on that. But anything else you've sort of seen from the show this week that has really sort of that you felt is really going to change your experience with your customers and partners going into next year? I don't know, announcements or things you've seen from other things on the floor perhaps, or I'm just interested in other observations you have.
Yeah, I'd say, again, I'm going to come back to generative AI. That's been the big thing for me. Even just walking around the areas, there's been some really amazing...
Ring the bell on Gen AI. Let's get the bell.
So, I mean, that's the biggest highlight for us is, I think, we're looking to integrate deeper on that level. And I mean, that's where we're going to see the biggest change, I think.
I think for me this year, last year there was a lot of talk about generative AI as well, and a lot of talk about like what am I going to do with it? What does it mean to me? How am I going to make money about it? But a lot of proof of concept and trying stuff. This year is a lot more conversation about production and taking things to the next level. So for me, the maturity of the conversation this year around generative AI and how what it's going to mean for people's business. Also, a lot of discussion this year that I've heard from customers and partners about generative AI more holistically and how it plays into the future of my data strategy, my migrations, app modernization, data gravity. Those conversations have been a lot more mature this year, I would say, rather than, again, the sort of proof of concept, let's see what we can try. So for me, that's been quite exciting this year. I think it feels a lot more, business this year rather than science project. Would you agree?
No, 100%.
And we're seeing in game development an adoption of generative AI. It's with the avatars and the backgrounds and the scenes. I mean, would you agree that's really opening the doors and letting people sort of lean into Gen AI and move forward?
100%. I think what we're seeing is a lot of gaming companies are using Miro as something called a mood board. So they're using that to come up with the themes of games, and it's really allowing you to very quickly, when you've got the concept of a game, go from that concept into what the environment's going to look like, what the characters are going to look like, and be able to. That's the great thing about generative AI, is it gives you that quick start to those mood board discussions that you're having with your teams.
Tell me a little bit about how that's going to feel from a gamer's point of view. What are they going to love about that?
From a gamer's point of view, it's the way we're talking about the actual engineering of the game. So from a gamer's point of view, obviously they're going to get the game quicker, but it's the guys behind the scenes that are building that game. What goes into actually building a game is huge. There's the teams that you have, your asset designers, you've got coders behind the scenes that even working on the smallest things, it's the hand characters and so on. But we're seeing that teams are using Miro to, in effect, very quickly from a very short prompt, be able to actually generate examples of what's in their mind and what their mood they want to create for their game, and then passing that to their creative teams to go and create that into the production-ready version.
And are you seeing the doors open more for a global development team using Miro, and they can be co-located in different places, and the art can be done in one place, and the backgrounds in another, and is that really it's the foundation of what's behind Miro and what you're doing? I love what you do there.
100%. Well, today we've got 80 million users using our platform globally.
Wow, hold on. What was that number?
80 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a big number, Rich.
It is. Yeah, it's shocking.
That is incredible. That's a double bell ringer.
So we're obviously seeing teams working globally. I've, for example, worked with clients that are in Japan, in Tokyo, and we're having to run projects also out of Las Vegas and LA and so on, where we've actually got features and capabilities in the product that actually mean that we don't have to have upset people that are joining calls in the middle of the night. So we've actually got the ability where you can use something called a talk track, and you can record a board walkthrough recording and actually share your visions. So this means that if you're working with a team that's maybe doing your asset designs in Tokyo and you're in LA, you can actually ship that to them, they can review it and asynchronously get back to you.
I mean, it's astounding to me the phase shift, if you like, in agility that this gives game developers. What does that mean to a game developer? Like, why is agility so important in being able to accelerate development times and time to market for them? Why is that so critical?
This whole industry now is highly competitive. You think, I mean, you just have to walk down the high street or the shops. I don't know what you'd call the high street in the US, but it's a case that games are everywhere.
Main Street.
It's Main Street. Okay.
Main Street. I'm Australian. I speak both languages.
Okay. But even on your phone, you're being bombarded with games. It's competitive, and they're vying for obviously the customers and the right. It has to be the best game. So it's a case our teams that are using Miro, they need to adapt very quickly to changes within the industry, the market, the type of trends within games. So being able to use Miro to help align around that and adapting.
I would imagine you have accelerated decision making along the journey, and things are being made, quicker, and then decisions made quicker, and then acceleration of development, and then obviously the end product is a game produced faster, right?
Exactly. I mean, just as an average across most of our customers, we're seeing just as the simple. If you start using Miro, you're seeing a 20% reduction in the time it takes to complete a project.
That's game changing, isn't it? I mean, that in terms of cost savings, agility, time to market, being able to realise, revenue from a game sooner. I mean, that's force multiplier.
Exactly.
Yeah, fantastic. And do you see that's going to mean? What do you think that's going to mean from the gaming industry point of view? Are we going to see more volume of games coming to market faster? Are we going to see higher quality games? Where do you see that sort of moving the needle in the industry?
I think generally, and it's not just gaming. I mean, it's every industry that if we help teams to go faster, it's not about that they are going to be churning out more work. It means that you're actually able to do more quality. So you're going to see better level of development. You're going to see teams that are better aligned and able to adapt. And so it's a lot better from that standpoint.
Yeah, somebody said to me the other day, I think in any industry, I think where there's a heavy lift for a highly skilled professional, there's an opportunity for a generative AI use case to help accelerate that, to be able to, you know, take care of part of the heavy lift so that you're able to focus that highly skilled professional on the top layer and keep and be more agile. 20%, I'm still sticking with that number, is an incredible amount of cost savings, an incredible amount of agility savings.
Absolutely. Well, Rich, so what's next and exciting with Miro and AWS?
So we've announced a lot of integrations that we've been working on. So we have actually got a lot of AWS capabilities that we've been showing today. A lot of work around supporting, as I said earlier, the migration and modernization projects. So we're here to basically support customers moving to AWS. So we are actually able to help you project manage that. We've got the ability to do cost estimation directly within our canvas. You can collaboratively diagram. There is just so much that you can do with our platform. We're also, again, more Gen AI. We're going to be obviously creating more integrations, specifically with AWS services. So,
fantastic. Excellent.
And excuse me, lastly, are there other things and other use cases? You mentioned generative AI, but are there other things and other use cases you see on the short-term or mid-term radar that are going to be the things that you need to double down on for the future? Especially, I mean, I'd imagine also there are some things that came out of the announcements this week that are going to probably make all of our lives a little easier, but anything else that you wanted to mention there?
I mean, so Miro is so broad that we can pretty much sort of support any work flow or use case that you have. Something that we've been working on behind the scenes is actually we've got a really extensive developer platform. And obviously I do a lot of prototyping with our customers, and this developer platform in essence unlocks the ability for you to really solve any problem or create any integration. And one of the things that we're working on behind the scenes is a Canvas SDK, which will allow you to actually create your own components and widgets. So you can imagine calling off to any service and being able to do that directly.
That is game-changing. That is absolutely game-changing. Absolutely. Yeah, do you have a team afterwards that goes through all the announcements at the show and looks for those new, pioneering innovations that we're bringing to the market and how to align them to your tooling?
We actually get a lot of support from AWS that comes with us and works with us to ensure that we're building the right thing. We also have a lot of our product managers at the show with us today, and they're getting obviously insights. We're getting actual customer feedback over what capabilities that they're needing. Ultimately, we're here to try and ensure that all of the AWS's customers are successful, and also with our platform.
Yeah, the customer feedback component, Michael, that's really critical, right?
It really is. I mean, you might have heard me say earlier today, one of the things people think about reInvent being in an education, being an opportunity to learn from about AWS announcements and AWS, directions and strategies and things like that. But for us, honestly, it's a huge learning experience for us, just hearing from our customers and partners what they're experiencing, what they're seeing in their business. It is like... it's like a learning experience on steroids every time we come to reInvent. So, reInvent's intense in so many ways, but it's a point where we really take a lot on board from our customers and our partners that service us as well for the year ahead. I mean, I took a lot from. There were a lot of announcements over the last few days, and I think we're all going to be catching up on it. Price performance is probably one of the things that I think that everybody's going to be happy about, particularly when it comes to generative AI workloads. We know they're compute intensive, but a lot of the announcements around Trainium and around more efficient use of models on AWS, I mean, it's going to be game-changing for anybody that's using generative AI. So that for me is just, I was hoping for some big announcements this week around that, and that's been awesome. So.
And we've had those for sure. And we know your team is going to be leaning in and talking to us more about that and working through that. It's really been great to have you here today on the show with us. We really appreciate it. I want to make sure we give you one of our Industry Live stickers for your laptop.
They're very prestigious.
Yeah, they're very... Earlier we had
Stick
them
one on your laptop.
We had them in the game show earlier.
Thank you very much.
But any closing thoughts or things you want to say before we wind down?
I'm just super excited to be working with AWS, to be supporting our customers, and to be presenting here with you.
Yeah, awesome. Fabulous. Okay, everybody, live from reInvent, Stuart Lepkowsky, Michael Schmidt, Rich Moore from Miro. I want to thank you today for joining us. Up next, we have Victoria Milo from Monks. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thanks,
See you
Stuart.
next.
Thanks, Rich.
Thank you.